Hi everyone, my name is Riya Shah and I'm the Managing Director here at Juvenile Law Center, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Jessica Feierman. I'm the Senior Managing Director.
And we're celebrating 10 years of youth advocacy at Juvenile Law Center, so we just wanted to take a moment to reflect on the history of the program. So Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about why you pitched this idea to start a youth advocacy program?
Sure. I really felt driven by the fact that young people have ideas, insights, experiences, and knowledge that should be driving our work as advocates who work on behalf of young people. That really it should be a collaboration between us and the community members we are working with. And so it was, as you will remember, when we started, we didn't really know how to connect with community members except to go into the community. And we went to E3 centers here in Philadelphia, and we started having group sessions out different places in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, there was a foundation that kind of awarded us a grant for this project.
So the beginning of it was this idea. We talked about it here in the office. Can we do this? This is a different way of doing business for us. And the Case Foundation was doing a sort of vote for my project grant making activity. And so I put a proposal together and we put it out there. We had beautiful mural arts images to support us, and we just asked people, can you support this vision of young people speaking on their own behalf and becoming advocates and becoming skilled in changing the juvenile justice system. We started with a focus just on the juvenile justice system, and we were lucky. We were in the top 4, and that gave us a small grant that felt like a big grant at the time of $20,000, which was enough to get us a whole lot of extra large pizzas and our staff time so that we could bring people together over food and start creating a project together.
Yeah, and it really was a different way of doing work for us because we weren't an organization that was representing kids in the juvenile justice system that was in court every single day. And so the idea that we were trying to change policy for young people in the system without their voice was really, I think the motivating factor in looking for this grant was really to find a way to incorporate youth voice into these decisions that we were making about policy reform. And so it was a really unique perspective.
And one of the things that we have both remarked on recently is that in our first year, the young people chose the project of talking about the conditions of confinement, and they were talking about restraints, and they were talking about solitary confinement. They had some very devastating stories to share about what they had experienced. They also did focus groups and talked to young people around the city to find out whether their stories were representative, and they made some recommendations, and they went and spoke with Congress. You went with them, and they advocated for new language in the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act that would limit reliance on restraints and isolation. And so we're also seeing how youth advocacy, sometimes it takes a while, but 10 years later we just saw that legislative change. And so the projects that are launched by youth voices really can go places.
Yeah, and that experience was really one of the greatest experiences I've had here at Juvenile Law Center. I think that we had such a great time. Weekly we went, it was the 2 of us and a social worker who was doing her field placement with us for the summer, or for the school year, Pam Winkler, and she and the 2 of us would pick up a pizza on the way, and we'd go to the West Philly E3 Center, and we had a small class of kids at the time, of young people at the time. I think we had a consistent group of about 5 young men who all had juvenile justice system experience, and they were all really motivated and really interested in the issues, and took the lead in conducting focus groups around the city at the other E3 centers and talking to young people around the city to really enhance their policy perspective by looking at the experiences collectively of young people in Philadelphia. We worked with the 4 of them were able to join us in Washington, D.C. and together we worked with them to kind of think through, how do you tell your story in a way that's compelling? How do you tell your story in a way that's not traumatic for you personally, and really share your idea and your vision for reform, and what it would look like to reduce the use of restraints and isolation for young people in facilities.
What do you think are some of the differences between the program today as compared with when we started it?
Well, the numbers for sure. I mean, I think that we had 4 or 5 young people in that first class. It was informal in the sense that we developed curriculum that really centered around what they were interested in, and we were coming at it from a perspective of legal analysis and legal policy reform, and I think that this currently the classes are about 12 to 15 young people in youth fostering change, and 12 to 15 people in Juveniles for Justice. I think that alone is a huge testament to the people who have been running this program. Jessica and I were fortunate to work on the program for a few years, and since then, currently we have 2 social workers with expertise that are running these programs. We have communications experts who work with them, and people who social workers who work with them on telling their story, and communication students from Penn who work with them. It's just it's such a bigger program that does so much great work. I think the one thing that I will say that has remained consistent over these last 10 years is we've had just a really committed group of young people who are interested in this, in not just sharing their story, to share their story, but to share their story and talk about how that should implement change.
It really is, and I think our current staff, I think Kathy and Marcia do a really wonderful job of recognizing that our young people are experts, and they have social work skills that we didn't have, to understand really what it means to support a young person in that journey to becoming an expert and an advocate. And it's probably something that we will always continue to work on, how to do that better, because it can be a tough world out there. Our young people are still dealing with all kinds of challenges, even as they're using their generosity and vision to advocate for others. But it's really impressive for me to watch the vision of our current youth advocacy program in really recognizing the expertise of our young people and making that central, so that our young people are not just speaking about what happened to them, they're speaking about what they know the justice system should look like and why they know it should look like that, and policymakers and others respond so readily to that. It really puts us leaps and bounds ahead of where we can get if we only had lawyers advocating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that the other thing that we really saw after that first year of Juveniles for Justice, we saw so much success in Juveniles for Justice that we thought that a unique idea would be for us to start a program that would incorporate the voice of youth in the foster care system as well. And so we started Youth Fostering Change that second year, and it was really we had similar staff who were working on it. We had the social worker also working on this project, and our first class was again just about 4 or 5 young people, and there were they focused on youth aging out of the system and created a video that you can see on our YouTube page, and you can see on our social media as well, that really chronicles their experiences in the child welfare system and aging out, and what supports they think are most necessary in order to succeed upon transitioning out of the child welfare system. And some of those young people are still in touch with us today. Some have created careers around their expertise. Farron Brinkley is one of the young people who's recently written a memoir talking about his experiences in the child welfare system, and kind of his what was really necessary for him as he aged out of the system. And one of the great things that we've been able to see over the course of these last 10 years is what great connections the alumni of our program have to the organization, and who are still willing and interested and able to speak on behalf of young people and share their stories, and really have become experts on very specific issues, that have really been able to travel across the country with us and to give presentations, and that's been just really remarkable, I think, too.
So with that, we thank you for watching, and we're really happy to be celebrating this 10 years of YA.